evening and welcome back to the RoryTalksFootball YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Thursday evening. There's plenty to talk about. The head loss needs to be reined in just a little bit, and we are going to do that. It's going to be a more composed and relaxed show today. There's loads of you here already. We love to see it. We're talking the Victor Gyokeres latest, Rodrygo, Madueke, of course, Eze, and a few other bits and pieces. If I could just ask you to subscribe, please. We're on the way to 21,000 subscribers. Incredible growth of the channel. And if you could click that like button, I would be incredibly grateful. And I am incredibly grateful for this. Before the show even started, Harvey with the 100 money said just to show some appreciation and for you being real. Harvey, I'm incredibly grateful for that support. Genuinely, it does mean an awful lot. Loads of you here. Ethan Udall, Vivi Vlad, Leeds Gunner. Goodness me. Harvey, 2K Dav, so many green names as well. Matt's in here, George Christodoulou, John P, Jack Sachs, Devin, Cham. It is good to see you all. I hope you're doing well. Mike? Is the mic wrong? Have I just done the whole intro with a bad mic? Oh, it was. Okay. This is odd. Is this mic not plugged in or something? Oh, we've got technical difficulties, sports fans. We've got technical difficulties. It's taking the mic through the camera, and it can't see my actual mic. What's going on? Let me unplug it and replug it in, maybe. It's not looking good, sports fans. Sonny's just gifted 5. I don't even know if you can hear me. So gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Sonny. Oh no! Why am I such an unk? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better now? We're better. We're back. We're back. Sonny, thank you very, very much for the 5 gifted. Incredible generosity. On top of the 20 gifted yesterday, by the way. Sonny, what an absolute legend. Okay, we're back. Did people actually hear what I said previously? Shout out to Harvey for the 100 money. Shout out to all of you. And we'll move on. And we'll pretend that never happened. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We could hear you earlier. It was just not the best quality. Yeah, apologies. It was coming through the camera. Anyway, on to the news. Stefan with the gifted membership. Stefan's consistency. It's unrivaled. Stefan has been here. He's here every stream, which in itself is incredible consistency. But with the memberships as well. If you've just been given a membership by Stefan, please do thank him in the chat. Honestly, it keeps this channel going. But look, on to the news. This on Victor Gyokeres. Now, this morning, right, and Arsenal fans are in a bit of a fragile mental state right now. It feels like we're all just a little bit on edge, ready to go. And so this morning, it came out from Ebola PT, who we have referenced on occasions on this show. Ebola PT suggested that the deal with Victor Gyokeres is on the brink of collapse, right? And that it could fall apart. And people jumped on that immediately this morning and were like, oh my God, it's going to fall apart and we're just going to end up with Madueke. That's not the case. Tranquillo. Karma. Fabrizio Romano said this today. Gyokeres deal remains ongoing. The situation is tense, but Arsenal are relaxed and want the deal on their terms. Sporting are sticking to theirs. There is a small gap, but a gap nonetheless. Gyokeres will not show up for training tomorrow. The situation remains broken between the player and Sporting. The player is ready to go to war to make the move to Arsenal. The deal is on and the conversation is ongoing. So there's no need to panic. It's still rumbling on. There's obviously a 3-way thing here because Victor Gyokeres' camp and he himself feel betrayed, really, by Sporting because they've reneged on the deal that they were willing to accept, which is what Arsenal are offering. There's an impasse right now, but again, Arsenal are the ones that have all the cards because Gyokeres isn't going to turn up to training and is going to force the move. So it is going to happen. Liam, thank you very, very much for the 199. Holding, Flamini and Norgard, number 16, Heritage. Yeah, I mean, listen, Flamini was a baller. Rob Holding was Rob Holding. Had an incredible hair transplant. And we'll talk about the Norgard signing later in the show because I rate the Norgard signing. And I saw people almost like kicking off at the Norgard signing this morning because of Madueke. And it's like they're two completely separate things. And us bidding for Madueke shouldn't affect whether or not Norgard is a good signing. So there you go. Ross, I'd say don't ban people for just saying sack Arteta, but ban it if they spam. Yeah, or time them out. Just time people out if they're getting a bit rowdy. I do appreciate people are on edge. You know, tempers are high at the moment, so we don't just want to outright ban everyone. You know. I can't see this signing not happening. No, I'm still incredibly confident that this deal goes through, to be honest with you. John Cross in the Mirror today said this, though. He said, Sporting Lisbon imposed a cooling off period over talks with Arsenal on Victor Gyokeres after reaching a stalemate with the Gunners, but are now ready to resume serious negotiations within the next 48 hours. So basically, you know, we had proper negotiations where we had sent people out to Portugal to try and get it done. It sounds like it got heated. It got heated between all sides, and they just wanted a moment to just step back. Stefan, I appreciate you. And Ryan has become a new member as well. Ryan, thank you very, very much for becoming the latest member of the Rory Talks YouTube, Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Enjoy the green name. Thank you for the support. So, yeah, I think it just got heated. Listen, I think Andrea Berta is a cool, calm, collected customer from everything that I've seen so far. So that was what happened. He went on to say, John Cross went on to say, Sporting want to stand firm on the price, but there is still huge optimism that the deal will get done. Gyokeres is making it clear he does not want to return to Sporting in a further standoff, but talks are seen as being drawn out rather than as having stalled. So just taking a bit longer. And you know what? There's even a bit of sort of showmanship, right? This is a huge monumental sale for Sporting. And from an optics thing, their president, Varandas, who's the guy that is ultimately being a bit of a knob, he wants to come out of it in a way that he can turn to the Sporting fans and say, I did everything I possibly could to get the absolute most for him. So there is an element of that going on as well. How much will Rodrygo be? I think around 80 million euros is what has been said. 80 million euros, 70 million pounds. But that will massively depend upon who goes in for him and how hard they go in for him. So we'll wait and see on that. We'll talk about Rodrygo in a second. Vivi Vlad said Gyokeres has done absolutely everything in his power to get the move. I respect that. So do I. From a mentality perspective, I mean, look, you could look at it from the perspective of, for him, he knows as a 27-year-old, he's not going to get many opportunities to move to a top club. So he should want to push it. But apparently he was like that, actually, when he left Coventry. I saw an interview from, I can't remember the Coventry City guy manager's name. Robbins, was it? Mark Robbins? Talking about Gyokeres for them and how he was a late bloomer, but how good he was for them and how he was just fixated on the next best move for me, for my career, is Sporting, and I'm going to make it happen. Even though at the time, there was some interest from Premier League clubs. So it does seem like he really is kind of mentally strong as to knowing exactly what he wants. Looks like Gibbs White is going to go to Tottenham. Would have loved him at Arsenal. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, that is one that you felt would have directly blocked. I mean, he's 25, so it wouldn't have blocked Juan Aries' pathway necessarily, but it's a good move for Spurs. To be honest, for Spurs, doing Kudus and Gibbs White, I mean, Gibbs White isn't a done deal yet, but yeah, both of them in a couple of days, it's, you'd be happy if you're a Spurs fan at this point. I'll be honest, right now, I think the only fan base, look, I understand Arsenal fans getting angry yesterday, but I still think we're on the right track. The only fan base of a big team that I think can be unhappy at the moment is United. I mean, I just made a video then. I've seen that they're interested in Wilfred Ndidi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as opportunity signings. But that even Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free to Manchester United might still be too expensive because of the wages he wants. Like, that we've been there, right? We've been there. Petr Cech is the only signing in a window, but it could be an awful lot worse. It could be an awful lot worse. What about Maddison, though? Yeah, but this is like us, right? This is like us complaining about someone coming in and providing depth, because Morgan Gibbs-White, yes, is an attacking midfielder. He can play off the left. And the way that Brentford played under Thomas Frank, with it was like a 4-2-3-1. You could facilitate that with Morgan Gibbs off the left. Kulusevski also can play off the right. So, I think it makes sense. Your manager prefers Madueke over Rodrygo. First of all, you don't need to caps lock it. And secondly, there is no evidence of that. You have no evidence that Arteta specifically, with Rodrygo as an option, is requesting Madueke. You just don't know that. I know you mentioned it, but Gyokeres hasn't reduced his salary. He's giving Sporting 2 million, which they owe him in salary, in order to facilitate the move to Arsenal. Interesting. So that has been reported in two different ways. So I'm not saying you're right, or to be fair, I don't know where that's come from, but it's been reported in two different ways. One was that he was going to let Sporting off 2 million that they owe him, and one was that he was going to let Arsenal off 2 million of the wages. So either way, he's willing to sacrifice a big chunk of money to get this move done. So, didn't Frank say something about Son not being in his plans? I don't think he'd have said that as explicitly as that. I don't think in the same way that Xabi Alonso hasn't come in and said that Rodrygo's not in his plans, but clearly Rodrygo's not in his plans. He didn't get a minute again yesterday, and they started with with Vinny Jr. off the right yesterday. I don't think he said it in as many words. Fabrizio said it on his YouTube. Oh, fair enough then. Either way, a couple of mil, it's a lot to give up, especially as someone who, don't get me wrong, he's not poor. But relative to most players at his age that are looking for a move like this, he's not been paid that much over the course of his career. They won't let go of Son until after their preseason touring career. Are they in Korea? I thought they're playing against us, aren't they, in Hong Kong and Singapore? I like what the signing of Madueke means, that we're trying to get our team more efficient in getting chances and transition power. Yeah, look, we'll talk about Madueke again in a second, because I do think some of what was happening yesterday needs to be rationalized a little bit. I thought there was some stuff yesterday that was over the top. What's your thoughts on Thomas Frank being the coach of Tottenham? Will it make them harder to beat? I think so, yeah. I rate Thomas Frank as a manager. I think he's an excellent manager. I think if you look at the bare bones of that Brentford team and what he got out of it, I think he's done a very good job. So yeah, I do think that they'll be better with him than they were with Big Ange. But look, moving on from Victor Gyokeres, and again, I do think that deal is going to happen. Rodrygo, like we said, didn't get a minute last night. We're at the point now where Vinny Jr. is ahead of him in the pecking order to play off the right, especially if they're going to pivot to having Mbappe off the left. I mean, that's an interesting one that they did yesterday. Arda Güler's ahead of him. Mastantuono is going to be ahead of him. He's going to leave. Now, Fabrizio Romano said this today. Direct meeting for Rodrygo's future will take place next week, as Real Madrid are open to letting him leave. Real will leave the final decision to the Brazilian. Rodrygo won't join Al Nassr, never a topic or even a negotiation, despite reports. His full focus is on Europe. Andre Hernan, Brazilian journalist today, said Arsenal retain interest in Rodrygo and await Madrid's decision. And then the interesting thing that came out today was from Globo, who are a Brazilian outlet. They said Rodrygo currently prefers to stay and regain his place, and will only open himself up to the market if Real Madrid clearly say that he can go. The club have not put a price on the player. Now, that's interesting. I don't know why it's still in his head to stay at Real Madrid. It could not have been made more abundantly clear to him at the Club World Cup. He is not in the plans. And it's not even a guarantee that they continue playing with a front three. So it's just not going to happen. Tom McFadden, thank you very, very much for the £10 super chat. Hi, Rory. Saw Fabrizio tweet earlier saying that Arteta wants Noni. Why? Arteta could be making his own coffin. KSC are ruining the golden age of players. What do you think? Love the content, by the way. Tom, once again, massively, massively appreciate that super chat. It's one of those, like, why does Arteta want a backup for Bukayo Saka? Because he saw what happened last season. So I cannot, and we all agreed that we need a backup for Saka. He's also looked at Madueke in the past. He clearly likes him as a player. We looked at him last summer when he was at Chelsea. We looked at him before he moved to Chelsea. So it's clearly something that he likes. And Arteta is the type of guy that goes back for players and even coaches. You know, his first interest in Gabriel Heinze was in 2022. And he still went back for him 3 years later. So, yeah, I think I can understand why we want Madueke. Like, Madueke does give us something in terms of that transitional power, direct 1v1 threat. I think it's only the price tag that we have an issue with. And, you know, to an extent, until we know what else we do this summer, maybe it's the right decision. But I think that's why Arteta wants him and has previously wanted him. It doesn't mean Arteta doesn't want Eze and or Rodrygo. That's the thing here. No one is saying he wants Madueke over an Eze or a Rodrygo. So I think that's important for now for us to keep in mind. Stefan, thank you for gifting another membership. We just need some sort of alert for Stefan. It's unbelievable. If you've just been gifted that membership, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. I mean, half of you in the chat have been gifted by Stefan. And Liam, thank you for the $4.99. Says, do you think it wouldn't have been the same reaction about Noni if Eze was signed? Yeah, if we'd already signed Eze or we'd already signed Rodrygo, I don't think the reaction would have been as bad. I think people would have just gone, that's quite a lot. There you go. Muhammad Ali says, thank you to Stefan. I still think the reaction would have been like, that's a lot. But it would have been like, okay, well, we got a left winger, we got a right winger. So again, this is where it is down to a bit of like the order in which it happens shouldn't dictate how you feel. I will still maintain 50 million for Noni Madueke is too much. Like, no matter what happens, I still think that is overpriced. Continuing with this Goglobo thing, though, the Brazilian outlet. So, yeah, saying that Rodrygo currently prefers to stay, I don't know if that is as of today or if that was a couple of weeks ago. I cannot see a world in which he's looked at the way he's been treated at the Club World Cup and wants to stay at that club. Goglobo went on to say, it is well known that Mikel Arteta has the Brazilian's name on Arsenal's shortlist, but there's been no direct contact with either Real Madrid or Eric Goes, who is Rodrygo's father and his representative. What is known is that any move to open the exit door will not have Rodrygo's hand on the doorknob. With a contract until the middle of 2028, the Brazilian wants to keep his place at least until the end of 2025. The next few weeks, however, will be decisive. With the end of their participation in the Club World Cup, Real Madrid have given their squad a vacation and are scheduled to reappear on the 4th of August. The La Liga opener is scheduled for August the 19th against Osasuna, and the transfer window for the major leagues closes on September 1st. Dates will be decisive in a silent soap opera, despite the external shouting. So, yeah, they come back on the 4th of August. So this is going to be one that if you hold on to signing Rodrygo, you're going to be doing it very close to the start of next season. For me, that is well worth it. Eluas, thank you very, very much for becoming a member as well. Appreciate the support. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football YouTube community. Enjoy the green name. The support is appreciated. Tom McFadden as well with the $1.99. Thank you very much. Says KSE want deals. You get a nice payment plan with. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like the structure of payments and the structure of the deals is an important thing for Arsenal. It's what has caused us to drop out of the Benjamin Sesko deal. 100%. They wanted way too much up front and weren't willing to budge on that. Generally, I think Real Madrid are not a bad team to actually negotiate with. Because of just how much money they've got, I genuinely don't think they're a bad team to negotiate with on that front. But there you go. Finally made it to a stream. You love to see it. Welcome to the new members. Welcome indeed to the new members. Do you think Xabi's friendship with Arteta will help us out with Rodrygo? Maybe. The thing is, it won't be down to Alonso and Arteta, right? Once it's agreed that Rodrygo's leaving, then it's not that, you know, the managers aren't sitting in a room and talking about it. It comes down to the owners and to the sporting directors and people like that. So There you go. Like the stream to make Rory sing. Listen, if you could click the like button, over 600 of you here, it does massively help. Especially if you're one of the people sat in here during the stream, you clicking the like button does massively help it get to more people and continue to build this incredible community. Do you think Vinny will ever leave Madrid? Maybe in a couple of years? Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I mean, there is an interesting scenario going on right now at Real Madrid where if Xabi Alonso decides that he wants an out-and-out striker, a proper striker, a number 9, it may well be that there's no space for both Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. Like that is a possibility. Now, Xabi Alonso would have to have a set of bulls on him to go in there this summer and be like, I'm starting Mbappe off the left or Vinny off the left, and the other one's going to be on the bench. That would be a huge thing to go in there and do. But it's possible that that's what they need. You know, how much more do we need to see at least Vinny and Mbappe playing together to be like, I'm not sure that works, especially not against top opposition. They got absolutely embarrassed by PSG yesterday. And you might say, preseason tournament, who cares? But it makes a big effect. EV, thank you very, very much for the $9.99 super chat that says, can we bring some perspective to the 50 million? Elanga was 52 million after scoring 6 goals in 40 games. Elliot Anderson was 37 million after scoring no goals in 44 games. That's simply the rate for young Premier League players now. I don't disagree. And that's where, from a Chelsea perspective, they will be looking at those deals and going, this is what it's worth. My argument is that is it worth that for Arsenal? Now, on the 2 that you've named, Elanga, over the last 2 seasons, has got more assists considerably than Noni Madueke, but he's not as much as a goal scorer. Elliot Anderson was a PSR deal. Elliot Anderson was a PSR deal between Forest and Newcastle. So I kind of, like, that's a little bit different. But you are right to an extent. Like, the rate for these players is crazy. It is crazy. But thank you very much for the $9.99. Ross Lawman says, I can't believe Xabi Alonso actually said he didn't bring Rodrygo on for tactical reasons when you're 3-0 down at halftime. You'd surely play him to spark away or raise the fee. Well, interestingly, what he actually said was he shouldn't have played a front 3. He shouldn't have played a front 3. Stefan who says, I'll gift another membership if we hit 250 likes. There you go. And if you click the like button, you are statistically more likely to get gifted. So, but yeah, he actually said, I think in the build up to the game, the plan was to play a front 2, not a front 3. And then Trent got injured, which meant Valverde had to go to right back, who I assume would have basically played as a right mid in more of a 4-4-2. And so then he changed it back to a 4-3-3 and played Vinny Jr. off the right. It didn't work. Like, that's a learning lesson for him. Nelson scored 1 Prem goal last season. He isn't worth too much. Reece Nelson's value will be hammered by the hamstring injuries he's had. He effectively tore both hamstrings last season. That'll be and he's also what, 24, 25 now? Is Reece Nelson 25 yet? He's not young, is he? Apparently we've got someone just said Fabrizio Bomba. We'll have a look at what it is. I mean, Fabrizio doesn't do bombers. That is David Ornstein's thing. What is old Fabby boy saying? What is Fab saying? Well, he hasn't said anything, has he? He's got a here we go for Orkun Kochu to Besiktas. He hasn't said anything else, has he? Don't think he said anything. But yeah, so that's it on Rodrygo. And look, if Rodrygo moves, Arsenal have to be there for him. I keep saying it's the signing of the summer. In my opinion, whoever gets Rodrygo has made the signing of the summer. Like, flat out. A player with his experience, with his quality, with his versatility, 270 games for Real Madrid. His output in the Champions League is actually better than his output in La Liga. So he's a big game player as well. I think it's signing of the season. I really do. And if we don't get it, I'll be gutted. And also, he will go and inevitably improve one of our rivals, whether that's in the Premier League or at Bayern in the Champions League. We got to be there for it. We got to be there for it. Orny just tweeted about MGW, but that's all I see. Oh, fair. What is the latest on that? Because I think it's a big move. Considering that Man City were there for Morgan Gibbs-White and then dropped out of it. Oh, yeah, so he's added to the tweet earlier. Morgan Gibbs-White contract believed to include a 60 million release clause. Interesting. So that means that Man City just didn't want to trigger the release clause. Clearly, if that was there all along. So that is interesting. Jake, good to see you. Arsenal make record-breaking bid for Liverpool star Olivia Smith from the women's team. Hey, go on the women. Go on the women. Mate, the women's team wasn't Leslie Russo. Did we get her on a free in the end? Didn't we? We definitely put, when Leslie Russo was at Man United, we put in a record-breaking bid for her. We need to start doing the same in men's football. What do you think of Arsenal's new festival shirts and stuff? They're all right. They're all right. Hey, if this money goes back into signings, you go and get your festival shirt. Go and do it. Yeah, Russo was free in the end, but I think the window before we got her on a free, we bid like 500,000, which was a record at the time. Moving on, Eze is still a priority. Ben Jacobs said this today. Arsenal are expected to approach Crystal Palace formally to discuss Eberechi Eze. The Palace attacker is still high in their thinking, as revealed. It follows positive talks with the player camp. Eze separate to Noni Madueke talks. And Ed Aarons today as well saying Arsenal are expected to step up efforts to sign Eze. Now, one thing I will say on this, the reason that this isn't progressing at the speed of Noni Madueke, I would imagine, is that until Crystal Palace know the outcome of their UEFA situation with the Europa League and possibly not being in Europe whatsoever, they can't go into the negotiations. Arsenal cannot negotiate with Crystal Palace when Crystal Palace don't know if they're going to be in Europe or not. We can't negotiate with Eze until he knows if he's going to be in Europe or not. So in a weird way, listen, from a footballing perspective, MGW, here we go. Oh, I was literally just on Fabrizio's. That has moved incredibly quickly. That's 2 here we goes in 2 days for them on 2 good players, you know. Yeah, there we go. Breaking. Gibbs-White to Tottenham. Here we go. Spurs triggered the 60 million release clause after direct contact with Forest today. Medical book set to take place in 24 hours. That's how you get a deal done quickly, isn't it? That is how you get a deal done quickly. Fair play. Good business for them. Good business for them. It's one of those. You can't sit here and rinse it and pretend it's bad. That's good moves. Good moves for them. Fair enough. But yeah, on Eze, we can't negotiate with Crystal Palace when they don't know if they're going to be in Europe. So, from a purely footballing perspective, I think it'd be an absolute disgrace if Crystal Palace drop out of the Europa League. If they're kicked out of the Europa League, when Lyon are allowed in it, when you look at the situation that Lyon are in, where they're virtually they're ridiculous amounts in debt, they're not going to fix that debt. So much of the stuff on their books is dodgy as anything. And yet they've just been allowed to go back into Ligue 1 and stay in the Europa League. I think that's a disgrace. All of that said, it would probably benefit Arsenal in negotiations for Eze if Crystal Palace aren't in Europe. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that. But I wouldn't expect any negotiations to happen until that announcement has been made. Do you think we can get Rodrygo if we get Eze and Madueke and Gyokeres? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I would love to say yes. I would love to believe. That would be the most mental transfer window Arsenal have ever had by a long, long way. Stefan, there we go. Thank you for another gifted membership. Absolute legend, Stefan. If you have just been gifted that from Stefan, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. Stefan, honestly, you're an absolute goat. Sonny as well, thank you for the $4.99. Why do I keep getting recommended toxic League Gunner content? He just said if we sign Madueke and it gets Arteta sacked, it's the best 50 million spent. Listen, thank you for the $4.99. Each to their own. You know what? Each to their own. Life is too short, I would say. But there you go. Sonny, Stefan, thank you both very, very much. Absolute legends. I like Palace, but they got to leave Europa League, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It is tough. I think it would be brutal on them. I do think it would be brutal on them. Yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White is homegrown. Whoever asked if Morgan Gibbs-White's homegrown, Yeah, he is. Rory, the way Berta has approached signings is to first agree terms with the player and then go in for the kill. I can see how this will go with Eze as well. And didn't we have prelim talks with Rodrygo? Yes. Yeah, no, that is the way that he does it. He gets everything lined up, right? So you get the player terms agreed, so you know how much the player is going to cost you in terms of wages and stuff. And then you work on the fee with the club. And once you've got all of that together and you have the full picture, and you've got that in an ideal world with multiple players, then you go for the one that makes the most sense. That is the way that he approaches it. Now, that's very difficult to do. You know, we've seen that with Sesko and Gyokeres. It's very difficult to do. But, yeah, it's not Leeds gonna. It's not Leeds gonna. And hopefully it works. Look, we'll see at the end of the window. We'll see at the end of the window if this method works. So far, I don't think it's gone badly, to be honest with you. He lays out his outfits on the bed before picking what to wear. Exactly. Exactly. Is the Emirates Cup a good first game to go to? Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I mean, it's a little bit expensive for what it is, really, but it's always good. It's always good. The vibe's always good. I enjoyed the Arsenal Bayer Leverkusen game at the Emirates last summer. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah, Gianni, we've already got the here we go for Gibbs White. We've been through it. Ethan Udall says, then people abusing Madueke personally aren't real fans. Yeah, look, we'll talk about this. So the latest on Madueke, no updates in terms of the progression of the deal. Jordan Davis said this, speaking to those closest to Madueke, despite reported doubts, the player has a top mentality, is desperate to play with and against the best at the highest level, and would relish the chance to fight for a starting spot at Arsenal. So, look, good PR for him in terms of the mentality thing, because it has been doubted. There have been some reports that one of Chelsea's concerns with him is the mentality. Other reports now saying that his mentality is top. But I would like to say on yesterday, some of the abuse that I've seen, he's had to turn off comments on Instagram. Some of the abuse has been ridiculous. The petition, 2,200 people have signed a petition not to sign him. Grow up, right? Fundamentally grow up. By all means, as we did yesterday, complain about the signing itself. He is not the one that dictates his transfer fee. He is a footballer. By the sounds of things, he's agreed personal terms on what is a cheap personal deal. Whatever the clubs decide to do with the fee, that is not on him. And if he ends up at Arsenal, I will get right behind him immediately. I'm not telling you how to behave, but sending him abuse, there's no benefit to it. Signing a petition for him not to sign that nobody is going to pay attention to, there's no benefit to it. There is no upside. You are not, by abusing Madueke, by signing a petition, you are not going to stop that deal happening if it is going to happen. But you are going to give him a feeling of not being wanted, possibly damaging his confidence. There's just no upside to it, fundamentally. What I would also say, though, is we can't conflate genuine and fair criticism of the signing itself, as in the player for that fee. You can't conflate that with the abuse. So you can't group everyone that was negative yesterday into the same group and basically say, oh, you have to be positive and happy about it, right? That's not fair either. Fair criticism of the deal, acceptable. Abuse directly of the player, not acceptable. And I hope that's clear, because I've seen a bit of both today. He hasn't even joined the club yet. Exactly. They're stupid about the petition? Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's just shameful, honestly. They're abusing him on the Norgard post too. So embarrassing. Yeah, it is. Getting right behind Noni, that's getting clipped. I mean, listen. Social media is the devil. It can be. 760 people watching, 250 likes. Everyone like the stream. Yeah, please do like the stream. As a third attacker, I'm happy with Noni. Yeah, exactly. And I think we all would be. And look, I would still fundamentally, if we did it for 50 mil, say that is too much. But am I going to care if we go into next season and we've got the upgraded left winger that I want, and we've got Gyokeres, maybe still Sesko, but most likely Gyokeres, and we've now got backup for Saka as well? I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining about it. It's such basic common sense, but it seems like that doesn't work in the modern world. Yeah, it does. It does. 100%. But look, that is kind of the latest on Madueke. There is no effective update on the signing itself. Into a few extras today. Ed Aarons saying that Arsenal are also believed to be confident of that Ethan Nwaneri will sign a new contract at the Emirates, despite interest from Chelsea and German clubs in the 18-year-old. So another good sign when it comes to renewing Ethan Nwaneri. Sam C, this was an interesting one that came out this evening. Sam C reports saying Aaron Ramsdale has informed Southampton of his desire to leave the club this summer. Sunderland and West Ham are among those interested. And the reason that is interesting is because when we sold Aaron Ramsdale, Kaya Kainak at the time said that he understands there is a sell-on clause included in Aaron Ramsdale's transfer from Arsenal to Southampton when we sold him. So if Ramsdale does make a move back into the Premier League again this summer, we could be in for a small amount of money. Now, I wouldn't imagine it'd be a lot of money. If he's going from, like, Southampton to Sunderland, that'd be what, like 15 million something max. Even if we've got a 20% sell-on clause, that's only like 3 mil. So it won't be a huge amount, but it could be a little something. It could be a little something. What attackers have we got so far? Well, none so far. We've not signed an attacker so far. But that doesn't mean that we won't. That doesn't mean that we won't. Better than a kick in the teeth. Exactly. Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, as my father would say. Ramsdale to United. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. Carl has been a member for 1 month. Carl, thank you very much. He says, is there any chance we get Gyokeres, Rodrygo, Eze and Madueke and sell Martinelli and Trossard? And that would be a huge upgrade in my opinion. Look, I think it would be a huge upgrade. It would be a huge kind of refresh of the attack. And I think that would be dream world, really. I don't think it's possible. Look, I'd love to see it happen. It is possible. Anything is possible. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately, especially because the couple of sort of big potential moves for Martinelli, which were Saudi and Bayern, neither of them seem like they're going to materialize. Also for Trossard, if we looked previously at getting like 25, 30 million for Trossard if he went to Saudi, it's now sounding more like Fenerbahce for like 10 or 15 million. So, yeah, I think it'd be very difficult. But thank you for being a member for 1 month, Carl. I do really appreciate that. If Rambo goes to Sunderland, he'll be the first keeper to be relegated with 4 different teams. It would be nuts. It would be nuts. Do you see Nelson being played more often this year? No, we'll sell him. We'll sell him. I don't see Reece Nelson staying at the club at all. To be honest with you. Did you see the rumor about Vieira going to Parma? I didn't see the rumor. All I saw was someone, I can't remember who it was. Was it Harry Sameo? Or someone? I saw someone post about it making sense if he went there, but I didn't see if there was an actual link for Vieira to Parma. It would make a lot of sense, and it would be good for us. So, yeah, possibly. Sunderland are making moves. They are. How much do we get for Vieira? Again, probably not a lot. I couldn't imagine us getting more than like 15, 20 mil at a push. It's going to be difficult, to be honest with you. It was an Italian source. Maybe there's something to it. I mean, Italian sources can be massively hit and miss. A1, thank you for the 199. Have you seen Nwaneri with the Sporting Lisbon top on? I have, yeah. I have. Good move. Good little move. I don't know if it means anything. Probably not. But no, I did see that. That was funny. Tom, no worries. You can always watch the stream back. Any links on clubs coming in for Zinni? Not really, no. We were hoping that AC Milan might come in because they've lost Theo Hernandez. That's fully happened now, but they've not. I think, did they end up going for Angelino maybe, or was that someone else? JC, thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. So, yeah, no one for Zinni at the moment, which, again, it is difficult. It is difficult. Anything on Mosquera? Nothing today on Mosquera, no. Nothing today. Ethan was on holiday in Portugal for holiday. Ethan was in Portugal on holiday. That's why he's wearing the shirt. Yeah, but he must have known. He must have known that not that he should care, but he must have known. Casual, thank you very much for the 199. What are the chances that we sign all 4 attackers? I would give it a genuinely 2% chance of happening. I think everything would have to fall perfectly for that to happen, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'd give it like 2-3% chance. Really, really would be amazed if it was to happen. But thank you for the 199. Stefan says, hit 350 and I'll give my last membership. There you go. The target now is 350. Crazy. You should do a video with Alex from the different knock. I'm sure we will at some point. I went on the Canon podcast, but Alex wasn't on there. But I'm sure we do. I'm sure we will. A lot of people have asked for it. So I'm sure we'll do that at some point. Appreciate this channel. No toxic vibes. Yeah, look, we never want toxic vibes. And that's, yesterday was as toxic as this channel might ever get. And it wasn't toxic. It was just kind of a disbelief almost that we'd gone in at 50 mil. But, at the end of the day, certainly I follow football as now, to be honest, now it has become a job. But you follow football as an escape from the things that are bringing you down in life. Not to get deep. It just got philosopher. Rory talks philosophy. But ultimately, yeah, I just don't want to be here just bringing everyone down, bringing other people down, trying to get clips, tearing other content creators. I don't want to do that. Liam, thank you very much for the 199. Says Arsenal women breaking the transfer record. I know, I saw. Now we should do it. I mean, got it. Yeah, if we broke the transfer record, I mean, only really Isak is even like a player you could break the record on. And even then, imagine you broke the transfer record on Isak. Like, I'd be a little bit underwhelmed in a way. If you were like, you've broken the transfer record. Don't get me wrong, Isak's an incredible player. But like, you almost just feel like that should be an Mbappe. We're not going to do it. So, Evie, thank you for the 199 as well. Chat, nobody has said it's Rodrygo or Madueke. No, nobody has said it's one or the other. Nobody has said that. Every single time Noni Madueke has been mentioned, it has been as a separate deal. And that is what makes me think, whilst, yes, we might appreciate that he can play off the left, I really do think he's being seen as someone who can actively facilitate backing up Bukayo Saka. And maybe, I don't think he could challenge Saka for an actual starting spot. But yeah, that's where we're at. So there you go. Have you seen Newcastle links to Ekitike? Does that mean an Isak exit? Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? Do you know what it would more likely mean, in my opinion? An Anthony Gordon exit. If I'm honest with you, I think they'd be more likely to lose Anthony Gordon than Isak, and to bring in Ekitike to play off the left instead. I appreciate that. I'm not, but I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Deep sleep, relax with nature. No worries, Liam. I appreciate the super chats today. All the journos are leaving out Rodrygo now and only talking about Eze and Noni. True. That's also true. Look, we'll wait and see. Gordon ain't ever leaving. See, I don't think it's that unreasonable to think that Anthony Gordon might leave Newcastle. He was open to it last summer. I've heard that incredibly reliably, that Anthony Gordon was open to moving to Liverpool last summer. But it never happened. So I do think it's possible. Ryan, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, look at you all. Look at people sending so many nice messages. Aiden, thank you for that. Do I do members streams? No, I don't. To be honest with you, my feeling has always been not putting content behind a paywall. I appreciate the memberships more than you can imagine. Genuinely helps me do this as a job. But I personally, I'm not good enough at making content that anything should be behind a paywall, that you should have to pay to watch me make content. So that's just not something that I think I would do. And that's not to say that the people that do put content up, especially people that put a lot more time and effort and create quality content, then putting it behind a paywall, 100%, no problem at all. But it's not something that I would ever plan on doing. When are the TikTok football filters coming back from a couple of years ago? Not sure, to be honest with you. Not actually too sure. Fabrizio, new post about Gyokeres? How new? Someone said that before and it wasn't new. What's he saying? Nah, there's not a new one. There's not a new one. We've done the most recent one. We've done the most recent one, Alex. Yeah, I've been trolled. Joshua, welcome to your first ever stream. You'll love to see it. So look, the final thing to talk about today was the Norgard move. And what I found interesting about the Norgard kind of unveiling, whatever you call it, the announcement was, again, we've really actually been the club have been focused on really trying to explain to us what the moves are. You know, with Zubamendi, the whole video around the rhythm and the pace and speeding things up and slowing them down. And then with Norgard, it's all been about experience and leadership and tactical understanding of the game. I actually really appreciate that. Like, I like it that they're being clear about what these players are being brought in to do. So I think it's a great signing. I've only heard good things from Brentford fans, and it's easy, right? You know, as people who probably don't sit there and watch 90 minutes of Brentford week in, week out, you can judge him on the way he's played against Arsenal, which I think he's played well against Arsenal, even though he should have been sent off for that tackle against Martinelli. In big games that I've seen him against other clubs, you know, he scored that equaliser, I think, against Manchester City. He's looked good. And so then I listen to Brentford fans, and Brentford fans all say that they are a better team with him than without him, and that it's really noticeable when he's not there. And so I just do think it's a very solid signing. It fills a gap. It's 10 million quid. It's a 2-year plus 1 deal. If at the end of that, if it's like Jorginho and he ends up here for 3 years, we extend it, you know, we trigger the extra year extension. It's 3 years. And you lose him at the end of that for free, like we did with Jorginho. Even if you've paid the 2 million add-ons, it's 4 million quid a year to have a quality Premier League proven leader in the squad. I just think that's good value. I don't think there's any way you can look at that deal. I don't care if 50 million on Madueke is a mistake. In isolation, as a move, very happy with the Norgard deal. Very happy with it indeed. Dalman is a literal child. Wait, I missed that. Dalman's 3 years younger than Waneri. We can give him time. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think I might have just invaded some people's actual conversation there. Dalman is literally a child. You can't say win now, then moan about not giving a 15-year-old minutes. Yeah, very true. Very true. Stefan, there it is. The gifted membership, Stefan. Thank you very, very much. Honestly, again, just the consistency, the continued support is absolutely incredible. If you've just been gifted that membership by Stefan, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. And Steve has gifted 10 memberships. Unbelievable. What a way to round out the stream. Steve, thank you very, very much. If you've just been gifted a membership by Steve, please do make sure to thank him in the chat as well. There are going to be so many green names. It's unbelievable. There you go. Jake is one of them. You love to see it. Absolutely incredible. The amount of memberships between Sonny, Steve, Stefan, it's all the S's. What is it? What is it with these people with S? Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you very, very much. Like I always say, the money from that, it goes back into the channel. It allows me to continue doing this full time. And where I can, trying to kind of upgrade. And I do hope that I mean, for the people that watched me 2 years ago, I think we've leveled up. I think we have leveled up over the last couple of years. So I appreciate it. Rory's going to be flying off to Italy again just from gifted memberships. Look, I promise that's not where the money goes. Does Dalman have a long future at Arsenal? Hopefully. I mean, it sounds like between him and his dad, they are absolutely Arsenal through and through. So you would hope so. Did you see that Norgard texted Ødegaard? Sorry, did you see Norgard said Ødegaard texted him and he really appreciated it? Just for those people who said, oh, shouldn't be the captain. Everyone in the industry that isn't on, you know, I don't know, TalkSport or whatever, or Troy Deeney, will tell you that Ødegaard is an excellent captain. Don't listen to the people that think your captain has to be someone that just shouts and screams a lot. It doesn't need to be. Just a bit. Yes, we have upgraded. Been here since day one. I appreciate it. Honestly, there's so many names in the chat that were here 2 years ago, which is just like insane. It's absolutely insane. Apparently, Ornstein has given his version of it. Here we go on Gibbs White. He says, Gibbs White scheduled to undergo a medical on Friday ahead of proposed transfer from Nottingham Forest to Tottenham Hotspur. 25-year-old has a 60 million release clause in his contract. There you go. It is done. The bedroom streams will not be forgotten. Matt, the bedroom streams on the terrible webcam with a terrible mic, shocking internet. We were doing it. We built this from the ground up. We built this from the ground up. Day one member always. Listen, the guest, the Gooner OG. No, real OGs remember the VV Vlad Ross Lawman head-to-heads. Ian, thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Anyway, look, this is going to be the end of the stream. Of course, we will have a quiz question. But before that, if I could just ask you to like and subscribe before you jump off, it does massively help. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. It's a Thursday. It's basically a Friday. Nid is an OG. Nid is an OG. I'll never forget. Oh, the PC crashes. The PC used to crash virtually every stream. Steve has gifted another 10 memberships. Steve, what are you doing? What are you doing, Steve? Thank you so, so much. We're on the way to 25K. We are indeed. Steve is going to help us there. Listen, with Steve, Sonny, and Stefan, we're going to have 25K gifted memberships at this point. AFC Him has become gifted with a membership as well. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Steve, thank you so, so much. But yeah, as I was saying, it's a Friday evening. It's basically the weekend. We are, by the way, there is moisture on my forehead. We might be approaching another bucket hat stream the way that it is going. It is getting warm. Evan Ferguson on his way to Roma. Crazy. They wanted him for 100 million. Crazy they wanted 100 mil. Yeah. By the way, how many people that will tell you that Victor Gyokeres isn't the right guy probably wanted Evan Ferguson? We don't always know best. We don't always know best. Yeah, we're going to get to the point where we've got more members than non-members. That's the dream. That's the dream. Anyway, here we go. Today's quiz question is... what should we go with? Today's quiz question is... Oh, okay. Which French club was Arsene Wenger's final club as a player? Which French club was Arsene Wenger's final club as a player? And I'll be completely honest with you, I'm going to have to check the answer because I actually, off the top of my head, cannot think. There we go. There we go. Someone's got it right in the chat. So I'll give you the multiple choice: Strasbourg, Monaco, or Lyon. Strasbourg, Monaco, or Lyon. And the correct answer, and the first person to get it correct, was... It was Carl. It is Carl. It was Strasbourg. I would not have guessed that. It was Strasbourg. Carl wins it. Congratulations to Carl. Second was Mr. Mister was second. Third was Navaneeth. Fourth was MCW. And fifth, was Ryan Henderson. So there you go. There you go. Absolutely phenomenal. Carl wins it. I didn't know that. We're actually learning. We're actually learning things here. So there you go. But look, like I said, that is going to be the end of the stream. Another ridiculous stream. Sonny, Stefan, Steve at the end there. All of the super chats. Appreciate you massively. And to everyone that just watches along as well, clicks like and subscribe. Massively grateful to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We will be back tomorrow. Either with a video or a live stream, hopefully. Maybe a little cheeky here we go on a Friday to round out the week. That would be nice. But until then, I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.